Na diversification no interest me to mic and ma to paper no ma to enye no nkwane diversification location na we invest no enso so ye diversification enti sika ne kakra o Ghana na o foreign assets o Brazil na o assets ni bo India ni nyina no kekabom eno kwa kabom ma currency no ye strong because o build the investor confidence enti ya na mo nwa say ye mpanimfo no saa enyoma say no emma o madwene mu because Obi, I will never accept to say me am here my being saying Dr. Bawumia. And I say kwesi botwe no mo ma beye bi koyi. There be. So it really baffles me.
Fantastic.
Come no wom kakra. Come no wom kakra.
Yeah. Easy. Me am to me home. And I believe that one of the focus areas for the Newforce, right? Say a aduani bebu e wo yeman
sanity. Sanity.
In more 12-point agenda, no, a find the expression,
definitely. Oko pillar 4.
Pillar 4.
You can be said reserves.
Okay.
Enumuno ya chichemu your gold reserves, your oil and gas reserves.
Okay.
Your food reserves, your general mineral reserves.
Okay.
And your in quotes. Tax reserves.
Yes.
Into
that's the pillar 4.
Yes. Aduane adea yadwene ho ye pa se okom Ghana nye oman se
into with food reserves, no, specifically na mobeye.
Into with the food reserves, no, what we intend to do ne say ye pese itimi store aduane a be lasting for the next 100 years.
Adriane for 100 years?
Yes.
That's what I best say.
Debbie said, Adriane no, utimi de a new maybe ekeka home. And depending on where you store it, and also nina betche, say a bit to me a guhacha and I say muhonche. And in the quest of doing this, no, you have to invest in mechanized farming and agriculture. You have to build canals, any water reservoirs are a bit to me aboa for irrigation. And nona your leadership, any politicians are a better tribunal. So my journey na unkosu say aboa paya omen to me anye na edio mai ababedru baby yewe.
And me share pillar 4, as you said, reserves. Even an ant stores food. And you see, we are a nation of 33 million people. What have we prepared for our future? And under food security for 100 years, established the largest seedlings bank in West Africa. Also, we have 13 million hectares of arable land for planting. Wow. And seedlings bank, meaning say, a bino ever establishes our seedlings, not one may create 4 seedlings or mobile.
Absolutely. And no kwa SSC a bino investing in research.
Okay.
Okay. We have to go into genetic engineering. I think so SSC yetimi refining oil products. Yetimi the petrochemicals. Na no amount fertilizer. Enti sa nyoma bebre ekeka bom ansa na wetimi abedru sa food reserves na ye kano. So it's a multi-level approach to governance and economic freedom.
Yeah, me share the 12 pillars and nyoma 12 pillars ye ase and the kind of things you want to do. Some of them not your usual things are political parties in your power or more I mean, being an economist, you know say to implement some of these projects we have resources. It can be capital, it can be labor, it can be everything. From the kind of economy we have,
Obi, wait I say, oh yeah, assume fidia mama pokasi atisika so comedy. But on the more serious note, Obi, the bia na meka Ghana for say from 1970 edebepem eneya metiwanimu sika nko a ayire free oman mu a yentumi account for I kwan bi so your friend no capital flight no.
Yes.
E bro $50 billion. $50 billion. Ode eno to nchen a emu nko a yekra edeba oman mu. Ene fla esam. Okaboma ekọ $1 billion afibia. Eno nkoda nchen. Ye oman a you produce oil. And so ye net importer of oil products. Enti afibia ye boka more than $1 billion ekra gas oil at the Baumaimu. E can call 2 million metric tons. Enti sanyo meya mambobo bosi se o reverse no now to make katino into half umpa. Owo be say $20 billion to begin with. Na sa $20 billion no edo so chain budget you could read your parliament. We will increase the tax. You are just plugging systemic leakages and you are reversing unnecessary importation. It is Sikanka Oberpone now the Akoma Bruni no. Afieti Equiafo Botum Bosia and Kabako Kobo every IMF Yakoha 17 times I still Ghana any year. Afi unko bossa Bosia Nibim. But
Hubert Senyamia Domina. O boss Nana Kwame we need the next election by a president. In him say this government will present their last budget in November. That budget no would run at least into 2025 for the first quarter of 2025. The new administration be present to our first budget around April, May. Muho baby. At that time Neomana washe Ghana for boning they would expect to see something some more. Yes. I'm not too sure that 20 billion will be available to you by April in 2025.
Well, definitely not in 2025. Now we are very much aware say Nyamea Dom na Ghana for so etie asempa. We are going to start with just about $11 billion according to budget penny for Ediaba Betuja.
Yes.
Na enyoma mebubo so a make us say o plug systemic leakages a ubenya no sa nyoma no enfollow within the budget no so no if you're going to spend $50 million mema example. If you're going to spend $50 million to establish a distributed ledger infrastructure or technology for all government procurements, now they blockade $1 billion of losses into corruption corruption. No usika odeba be yedwuma apart from 11 billion na nke wo budget ni mu no so no na according to Auditor General's report no enye 1 billion you lose in corruption etwam 4 billion so you are spending, you are purchasing and making investments every more returns quadruples. If you spend 50 million to create infrastructure, now we'll save $1 billion, $2 billion, $4 billion. I think it's worth it. And those are some of the things the first things that you plug leakages, Now afi you start here fresh.
A free more with some sika. I am interested in Pillar 1. But even before me busao about Pillar 1, you are a young man. I mean, say no mind in the air canon. And so share the young men of this country and women. I mean, by the time on free university, some of them join TESCON, TAIN on university campuses. Into Onya free school are they transition into mainstream politics, joining either MPP and NDC. Why the Newforce? At then of all the attractions, I mean the NPP, the NDC attraction, no, you decided to join the Newforce. I didn't hear.
Obi, me that say no question here will be say. Now, first of all, no, everyone I'm working in Western, na me can't TESCON ho.
Oh, okay.
Na your co TESCON meeting na. Oberhe na okoye solukune jamashie ne yi sabrero na deputy minister finance.
Okay.
No taba hopa onesamia uku no ne ade.
Okay.
Inti metena say dream one and me say is this really where I want to be? Enti afei no I began to search for baby a mehwa me de me ho kwa a bit to me aboa o mine because I am altruistic in nature. Enya me nko me ho na me dwene. Enti yeduadua mu a and your free be synchronicity. The old no obi nso odwene the same thing. Enti the universe in its own intelligence no once na de mumienu no maba be share. And me obi nso I am attracted to people with high intentions and are committed to skillful execution. And I think that is the best quality of Nana Kwame Bediako. O share adan we see o Ghana now share the perfection no. Utimu so you be a dear fair and fair. And he stands for excellence. Enti me hu say ye nya obi sa ebedi oman so a ebeboa Ghana ye pa. Yeah.
Going close to because for him to make you the lead economist, no, meaning say if he decides to build a youthful cabinet, for example, you would be considered for a very high cabinet position. I would want to believe, say, and all of that. Do you think that there is something about him, a Ghana for Intina Ebia? I don't know the level of acceptability of him amongst the Ghanaian people. But Ebia see who Sadiana Ghana for would readily accept him. Bibi one who yana.
I think say Ghana for I accept it. The message echo.
Okay.
On the other side of the question, no, correct. Nana Kwame Bediako, my friend is say Ghana for nyina penny. Ewo qualities bia dodo na no enya nhunu here. Esan say the social media odi kan ba out no said the osi appear to Ghanaians na ya the forefront na yehunu bi saada. Enti when people begin to act in a way fall within a frame of reference eya na to the bia unya doubt kakra. But Ubena Ubehu said he's the most compassionate human being you can ever find. Or any pebi or juni nipa hopa na okona juma mu a obia be dia dance. Onimobia problem or jumanim. And he is willing to go all the way through with you. Na me no nya me nwanwa because nipa bia oba na tete no or pick it sa qualities ni and to said you see don't mame any idea all these are signs are actually say papa we dwene nipa ho
yeah I get you and I believe sir nipa ho dwen no na inform the kind of policies that were rolling out in the 12 pillars. So number 1 16 regional industrial revolution, 15 regions dormant, 1 region choked. I would want to believe say a Greater Accra region and I choked, into the whole thing around industrial revolution. Is it the year with the NPP 1 district 1 factory now as something fundamentally different?
Well, it is fundamentally different.
Okay.
And superficially similar. The idea of 1 district 1 factory good.
Okay.
But the Biana Mekase ideas alone are not enough. You need refined thoughts. So refined thoughts and any stage ayana yempeni for no enwini nkudru. Omudru idea stage na no mapim. Because idea stage no nkwanu timi score on political points. But any political points no na yedi boomine. E was so move called refined thoughts nim. Now refined thoughts ebine say ko establish a factory and I say industry baby as I say the demographics of the area. Because adiana ode ko ho no enipa to ho ebia the age bracket near 45 to 65 wa na edi ahoden na omode kwa akoye adwuma ewo ho na sa mistake we no enye aban woso yinko na aye from the beginning of independence I had be seen no yempanifo no bebre aye some mistakes no just to score political points enti ebani trima no or the factory no akwesi baby se be ya nipa bebo ni ye so no enti eni 4 years eni 3 years na ade no gu because business no nye sustainable But when you have a businessman why is successful for the last 25 years, he understands deeply how these things work. It will hurt me there was just the other relocation, you know.
Yeah.
Sir, this is the kind of consciousness now can say 15 regions dormant,
yes.
1 region choked. No correct. So we share in capital Accra, nipa egum edosun ye pa. But greater Accra size, no. What to compare Ghana, a bare 1.4% pay
of the whole Ghana.
Of the whole Ghana. But bears is 60 to 70% of internal migration in United towards Greater Accra. Percentage say so be money bag so na nya broche no kwa
or back
yenti me enyo minus until you need to think of how to fiscally decentralize the country. Say udwiri sika manako all the regions.
Yes.
Na regions so western region they have so many resources, a lot of minerals and can be to me I exploit it. Now benefit your man so yama brofo and I take control now omode minerals in your
and the idea is to build some kind of growth poles and
absolutely and you wanna get the true potential of all the regions. You want to maximize the potential of all the regions.
When I'm going to answer from more research, no, more determine every region's wealth.
Yes.
In the Volta region wealth, $192 billion.
Yes.
Hey, but that's a lot of money.
There be it's way conservative figures.
Really?
Aye.
Ashanti region 240 billion, and when a value of the
mineral
natural
resources,
resource
yes.
or more.
Yes.
Western region 412.9 billion, Upper East region 53.5 billion, and we know the research, the figures were based on what? What they a day?
Well, from different sources.
Okay.
There are a lot of research on Ghana. Your resources are
yes.
Now Obi Unimbibi Abrofono more information mayumu
it's true.
It is all pay a new ma Ghana pa information no abrochiri.
True. I say may have a master's now may pay data on Ghana me use CIA fact file.
Absolutely.
And you get a lot of information there.
Absolutely. And thank you for mentioning CIA. You know, some of the information is free. CIA, it means free China for my baye juma wa ha or more information echo. It means free professors or more or my extensive research for many years and nobody has been paying attention to them.
To the research. Yeah. No? I love the bit on the wealth creation. So maybe back to the Industrial Revolution, meaning say for regions now and you state here say our research on attributable reserve shows gold plus iron ore plus oil plus gas plus bauxite plus lithium plus diamond and the potential of our agro processing on our arable land something around $2.5 trillion.
Yes.
Wow. And that's really massive, and you want to make sure say you exploit Weno to benefit the Ghanaian people.
Absolutely.
In all the regions. In 10 years, we would have an economic output of $4.7 trillion.
Yes, and what that means, and they say, so 2.5 trillion na
yeah.
Senka u yusu ni na in 10 years time no economic output anka ubenya ni you do the proportions no pro rata.
Yeah. We produce 200,000 barrels of oil per day. We sell these and then import refined product. Said the must say we refine the oil, petrochemicals, so that we do not import product. But easier said than done, because say as a country we've not been deliberate in making sure that we would invest in prospecting for some of these minerals, and we allow foreign companies to come with a capital almost strike oil now. They would go into an agreement with you, and that agreement you don't expect say we'll be more than them. How would you want to change that structure? No?
You rightly said it. Say we have not been deliberate to invest in exploration. Na offer or mind be to say China. China produce gold. They are doing about 370 tons a year. we China free one maybe about Australia 310 and then Russia the same amount. Na oko China omu major mining companies no enye obi ne free o mine bi so no abamu na debi China for no an sika no omu di tu ade no omu ankasa ekipi as reserves. Yeah no yenya sa consciousness no because broni ni di sika ne ba no se me betu na mema 10% penyin ni dwin say 10% of a billion near $100 million e sika bebre but onwini say gold no ankasa na broni ni de kono hedge against inflation na say uni sa reserve no a o currency no ebesi ni ti ase. But the moment adwene no ebeko in reverse no afi utumi enya sa consciousness no na in finance you be a friend say hypothecation hypothecation nature say sika bia abound sem no earmark say sa sika adwumadie we pote ena medibedi enti anke betumi anya adwene say sika bia ebeba no ye de kwa akodi sa adwuma we isa say yebema ebia mining company XYZ ababeye Sadi we know. Yang kasa yebe building up your equity. We can go into partnerships with foreign companies, but the equity no a question no. So the equity near more than 50 to 60% a fair na near say you control your reserves. It's na kwame bedi ako message ni na no. It borders around ownership and control
of your resources
to
benefit the
Ghanaian people. Ownership and control. So when to me and control now I'm onia, you can have all the resources in the world, but unye.
And that explains your situation as a country.
Sanity.
Because we don't control our resources. And that is the paradigm I'm say shifting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There is this thing about the transportation and some of the bold water connectivity infrastructure. Lake Volta is the largest man-made lake in the world. Electricity. Maka say you would want to dredge canals, increase cargo flow with Newport. The Suez Canal in Egypt generates 9.4 billion a year. And you want to have a similar thing. Ewo Ghana on the Volta Lake. When your waters are neglected and abandoned, why wouldn't they be polluted? It brings us into the conversation around, illegal mining and what it's doing to our water bodies. Maka about railway network. Our vision is to develop a comprehensive railway network exceeding 8,000 kilometers, 1.5 million tons of steel needed. This will be produced from Pillar 1. In the Pillar 1, Industrial Revolution. No? Okay. Build railways to the borders and let our neighboring countries continue to connect the West Africa region. And that's a comprehensive policy on transportation. I say the moon needs the sun to shine. So does Pillar 2 needs Pillar 3 to thrive. And Pillar 3, from transportation, mobile energy city and technology hub. There can energy city.
Well, Obi said asemna yatrono hono. And Nyoma Yabobosui 16 regional industrial revolution and railway projects are your pese I don't know. Say uni energy untimi empower industries.
Okay.
And I say investor bia so ever ukrumo
or
hesanium no. O energy tariffs no enye competitive or because obeye dwuma no a obeboka. And what we are saying is say itiminya a consolidated power mix. And I say energy sources. In him said we are already in the hydroelectric, we are already in the thermal, but we have to go big on solar farms. We have to go big wind farms. We have to go big biomass. Afe unya enonu nyina wi unwiye. SSA making bold steps towards nuclear energy. Because nuclear energy no na unya ema energy no and I say electricity no many ade no bo no form. The initial cost no ewo high, but the benefits no are no. And in the mind of the Nakwame Bidia, because ordinary nantia, Obeka say it's not about the initial cost. Say adia no the return on investment no eswa go for it. And this is the consciousness. And na enye no kwa ye hu say 640 million Africans don't have access to energy.
Yes.
Enti yehuni say rehosem but no asan opportunity. The Ghana. Enti sani o no na ya sha ase a ye dwene ho ne de to Ghana fo anim say omuma ye kwan a eni o ma say na ye de begugu akwan mama oman no etumpon.
It's interesting. I mean, some of the information I'm going to put it together in this policy document. I mean, for example, I'll share data centers now. Build data centers to support the technology hub. We would position Ghana for crypto farming, which is mining. That's crypto farming or mining, coin minting, and tokenization of assets. This is the future of finance. Now, when I'm for a bit skeptical, this whole blockchain, crypto, it's convenient. People advise and convoke Charlie, don't go near side because say ulusu bamut musike da ho echo. Are we ready for BBC?
Well, that's an intelligent question, Obi. Now, let me begin by explaining the underlying technology or build it on top. The underlying technology, no, any friend is said distributed ledger technology and I say infrastructure.
Okay.
Na obia waya accounting da bia no nim say ledger. I had to say wodwo na watro expenditure any income into we come na we film we come na we film. That's the ledger. Into the distributed no so chere say matro ade na gu me notebook e wodwo no me ba be make millions of copies of the same information no. Enti se me copy no eyira.
Okay.
We still have other copies we can fall on. Enti sa technology no ni nickname any a friend of blockchain
no. Okay.
Na the advantage in so ewo ho ne se immutable e kire se utro shem se sika sei e na abefa business ni ma obia sesa no a enye yi. Because wo sesa no at your end because ade ni ye distributed no. Just call all the other computers are running and there no to change everything, and it's impossible to do that. So that's the underlying technology, and this is going to be the future of finance. So see, I mean, say American government is thinking of building Bitcoin reserves. American government. So, and there are many other governments, Germany, they are all going deeply into it. Na Brunino, obedadao, no, make advances. Bear 30 years ahead of you. Or we are no about the two for say, this is what you have to do. So, it's no, Obana na kwa mbedia kon 80 mwa. Ebi America said you any park, ebi akro 35 mpo. So, this is the new consciousness yadeba. Because they don't want to look into other areas. But no so soon a bit to me well leapfrog enim. Because baby I want to say yes from baby America no more shall say near ye da. You need a new maybe I'll be dredging as soon well leapfrog. Na itimiamo catch it up kakra. Oh, and see and no near dear friend is say nyansa and I say intelligence. Ya kaso be ni nyansa and me say the person has an uncommon advantage of multiple perspectives. And I
think one of those perspectives would be something Norway has done and done very well, which is the National Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Absolutely.
And Momo say it's the new IMF. Yes. I remember say yenya oil in commercial quantities. President Kufuor then a seminar, be a big one. I remember Trinidad and Tobago by Norway by to come and show and as a talk to us how we can manage oil resources. I don't know what became of that event, but when you read about Norway, one of the things they've done so well, your more national wealth sovereign fund, it's something you are proposing in this.
Well, like you rightly said, inspiration need be free, Norway.
Okay.
Na Osha, oyo nonkwa na ometumi edia build it.
Sure.
Sa sovereign wealth fund, And they kase I think sa last year omu generate profit of more than $213 billion. $billion. Sa profit from omu national also change Ghana GDP. And sa omu population about 5-6 million. let's just say Accra near or Norway population and so sika omunya from just one avenue no as to change the entire Ghana GDP. So into the consciousness say you have to build the reserves. Now if you leave it for the National Sovereign Wealth Fund to control. International Sovereign Wealth Fund on independent and autonomous. One kasa take your decision.
They can invest in other areas.
The idea is that you want to delocalize the way we do investments in the country. So it will share Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund now. And you Norway Hong Kong or Modi Sikanishe. Or more shares for every major company in the world. They have shares in Alphabet, they have shares in Apple, they have shares in Google. Baby, and Obia, while we there of finance, we be catch say we asset and asset fund allocation free. The next diversification, no interest. Me to my card, no to paper, no to. Yeah, no quantity diversification. Location now we invest no, and so your diversification. In Sisikane kakra or Ghana, now or foreign assets or Brazil, now or assets nibo India. Nina no kikambum and no kwa kambum or currency no you're strong because o build the investor confidence. And the other one say and penny for no sir and you must say no Emma or marginal because Obi I will never accept to say me I'm my being saying Dr. Baumiao and I say kwesi botred more my baby queen that be so it really baffles me. It really baffles me.
Is it not the case say maybe when you are out Newman looking very easy, but when you step into their shoes, decision making, at that level, maybe easy. The things, the interests you have to consider are varied.
Obi, and to me, possible say Singapore there when you step into the shoes and Newman Koye, na Ghana and Ghana will step into the shoes I think say they don't have the political will to develop the country. And you no don't care about the country. I think so the political party machinery now baggage Inti we power na the number of people say obi be say o settle no a dozen year pa and until you proposing lean governance, efficient governance model next annual no
and more look here. Ministers be saying
12 ministers.
12.
Yes.
12 ministers.
12 ministers.
And the Mubenya minister back in charge of every pillar na.
Obi, you're very smart.
Oh, that's the idea.
That's the idea. Enti pillars na yabobosu ni nyina no ministers na ba beda no.
That's interesting.
Ministers na beda pillars na no. Na oma make sure say you to me deliver perfectly.
That's really interesting
for the people of Ghana.
But what I want to do is I the presentation or launch this document, but I think going through it and then it's a very interesting document. I will say maybe you have to come back because Yababi drew pillar 5. Pillar 6 is interesting, the SNIT revolution. I want to hear more about that. Pillar 7, industrification. Pillar 8, environmental human rights protection. Pillar 9, apostolic governance, the 12 ministries. Oh, okay. That's here. Pillar 10, raising Ghana's $50 billion. Wow. And Pillar 11, national security and data protection. Pillar 12, sport and the creative industry. I think I was saying, yes, sign Emma Obabaki bill. And then we go into the rest of the pillars. Na ye BMA Magana phone unite to me at I think we have to feed the Ghanaian people with all the alternatives, the options, so they can make the right decision. This is a really, really interesting document. Who can more try and
more try the young consili kakra. But the main idea no nana kwa video nyoma we trimupa.
Anyways, my final question to you, Ansana Yamawako already. I mean, Honorable Edward Bauer had the message about no kase or more the NDC's version of sovereign wealth fund. No, they created the heritage fund. I don't know if it's the same, the same thing.
The same.
Okay.
And Americans say delocalization of investments.
Of investment. Okay. We say, Obi, what is Hubert talking about? Reserve food for 100 years? Please ask him to give us an example in the world where food has been reserved for 100 years. I don't think say you mean literally say yeah the more talk or share
baby for 100
years. I don't think that's the idea. Yeah.
Until we refer to the seedlings bank, no?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In the Paul de Suso, thank you for your message. But I think that's the response. My final question to you, near the Nkomana Bay, and then maybe Uba back be you near Twaso. So what share presidents are yenya? It is said say almost all of them at one point or the other were career politicians, for the want of a better expression. Rawlings was not a politician, but through coup d'etat, be head of state for 11 years, transitioned into constitutional governance, a president for 8 years. Rebecca was some political experience when we entered 1992 and implemented the constitution. Subsequent to him, Kufuor Bai. For him, you can say he's a career politician, so much experience under his sleeves. Mills Eba, why a vice president that Eba be a president. Mahama Bai, why a vice president be a president. Nanado for the best part of the adult life, was in the trenches, frontline politician, if you want. Baumia, I vice president. Or person be a president, or some level of experience politically. Mahama the same. Nana Kwame Bediako doesn't seem to have that. So political governance in this country without high experience, you think he can be successful? Looking at how a political system,
Well, you need experience in politics to become an excellent politician. But an excellent politician is not an excellent leader. An excellent leader, no experience in life. And he has the ability to put brains and minds together and allow them to function. And no politicians because so you're a politician, career politician, or consciousness a job for the boys. So no, ye di power ni we are a kwaya mefa so me position me for because politics na about loyalty. But business enters business na about what works. Into business na more about idea meritocracy. And no ne adwenia na no kwame bedi akon edeba. And is the more reason in tia as a Ghana for a try Yeah.
Hubert, ma yensanya arranging embra nebra bi na fe yanto ankomo no so. Why? I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Same here.